This is probably going to be one of the most comprehensive videos on how to create single prompt AI voice agents inside of Retell. In this video, we're going to break down everything, all the exact functions, what they do, their purpose, and essentially when and how to use them. We're also going to go ahead in the beginning of the video, share with you a actual voice agent that we have built out, show you what it sounds like, how it books meetings, how it handles objections. That way, as we go throughout the video and we build out this voice agent, you will have an idea of what the finished product looks like. Now, if you want access to this 15-page document, go ahead and DM me on Instagram and I'll be more than happy to send you a copy of the exact document. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. So now what we're gonna do is go ahead and give you a complete guide on how to build Retell AI and every single function within the software, okay? Not every, but most. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go over how to create a Retell AI prompt. We'll break down the exact structure. We'll then go over the knowledge base and we'll show you exactly the different ways that you can create a knowledge base and how to do that. Then we're gonna go over the agency configuration, which is going to be this entire section right here. We'll go through every single function, what it does, how to use it, and all that, from the speech settings breakdown to the transcription settings, the call settings, post-call analysis settings, security and fallbacks, webhooks, okay? So we'll go through all of that in this video. Now, before we do that, I wanna go ahead and actually have you have a listen to the AI voice agent in real time so that as we build this, you have some context as to what the finished product will look like. So this is a single prompt AI voice agent for a company called Michelle Real Estate Group. And we're gonna go ahead and just call it, ask it a few questions, just again to give you more context so that when we do build this out, you can have an idea of the finished product. So we can, first of all, test the agent right here. So you can see it's not published yet, but we can test it. So we're gonna go ahead and do that.
Hello, you have reached Michelle Real Estate Group. How can I help you today?
Hi there, I'm looking to inquire about a property that you guys have.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to help with that. Could you please tell me the address or a brief description of the property you're interested in?
You know, I totally forgot. You don't mind giving me the top two properties that you guys currently have right now?
Of course. Here are two of our top current listings. 120-115 Filbert Street, San Francisco, California, 94123. This is a modern Marina District home with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,850 square feet, a renovated kitchen, private patio, and a 2-car garage, listed at $1,695,000 to 1451 18th Avenue, San Francisco, California, 94122. A beautiful Sunset District home featuring 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,300 square feet, spacious living areas, hardwood floors, and a large backyard, listed at $1,995,000. So if either of these interest you, I can provide more details or help schedule a showing. Would you like to learn more about one of these properties?
You know, I know exactly which property I was looking at. It's actually going to be the first one, so I would love to schedule a showing, please.
Great choice. I'd be happy to help you schedule a showing for 2115 Filbert Street. May I have your name and the best phone number or email to reach you? Also, do you have a preferred date and time for the showing? Our available hours are Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah, so my name is going to be MJ, and the email is going to be mj@agencyprotocols.com.
Thank you, MJ. Could you please let me know your preferred date and time for the showing? We're available
Let's go
Monday through
ahead
Saturday
and
between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. I'll do my best to accommodate your schedule.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do tomorrow at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you, MJ. I'll schedule your showing for 2115 Filbert Street tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. You'll receive a confirmation at mj@agencyprotocols.com. If you have any questions before then, feel free to reach out. Looking forward to helping you with your home search. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just had a quick question. You've been very helpful. Are you going to be there tomorrow?
I'm glad I could help, MJ. I'm actually the virtual assistant for Michelle Real Estate Group, so I won't be there in person. However, one of our experienced agents will meet you at the property and guide you through the showing. If you have any other questions or need to make changes, just let me know.
Okay, well, that'll be it then. Thank you.
You're very welcome, MJ. Thank you for reaching out to Michelle Real Estate Group. We look forward to meeting you at your showing. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for calling, MJ. Have a great day. Goodbye.
All right, so that is in a nutshell the actual call. So you can see we've showed an example of go high level, and Retell by far just sounds so much better. Again, keep in mind you can go ahead and clone your voice. So the one that we're using right now is called Chima. You can actually go ahead and add a custom voice using something like 11 Labs, where you'll clone your voice and then upload that directly. So that's the finished product, and this is very basic. I mean, you look at the prompt. I literally created this in like maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes max. And you can see it already sounds so good. You can imagine if we implement everything that we're going to go over in this video, it's just going to sound so much better. I believe when I started talking, she continued talking, so you can actually adjust that. So that's something that's not adjusted. But we're going to go over all of that in this video. Okay, so the first thing is going to be creating an AI prompt. Now, when you're creating the prompt, you want to essentially follow a structure. And that structure is going to be the role, the tone and style, the objective, and then any special instructions. Now, there isn't a right or wrong way to do this, but having a structure like this is great because the voice agent will understand everything. It'll have a structure to how to conduct itself. And again, the prompt is going to be how the voice agent is going to conduct itself. And then the knowledge base is going to be the information about the actual business that that the voice agent is answering these calls for. So let's go over the first one, defining the role. So it's this is what is the agent pretending to be. So the example here, you can see it says you are a friendly receptionist for Michelle Real Estate Group. And if we go back into Retell, we can see it here. Let's see here. Actually, we just copied the URL. We just copied the prompt. We didn't add it in here. But if you were to add this, we have a ChatGPT prompt here, and you would be able to go ahead and use whatever I'm teaching you, the structure right now inside of here. So you could, in our example, it would be you are a friendly receptionist for Michelle Real Estate Group. Then you want to set the tone, and this essentially tells the agent how it should sound. So an example can be speak clearly, be warm, helpful, and sound human, not robotic. And what I'll do actually is I'm going to go ahead and open up another voice agent here that we have created that is a multi-prompt, and then show you what one that is actually completed from end to end looks like. So if we go back in here and we have a look at this, you can see here the role. You are a professional friendly voice agent for XYZ Realty. We give it some context, right? The more information you give it, the better, the tone, so on and so forth. So we'll look at both of these. So tone and style, let's have a look at the tone and style here for something that is completed. Let's see, I believe it's going to be, you can see here specific instructions. Tone, always communicate warm and professionally. Clarifications, if you're unclear, repeat and confirm detail. And we even provide examples. The next is going to be the clarity and the objective. So it's like, what is the agent supposed to accomplish? Your goal is to answer questions, provide info, and book appointments. So you need to give your agent a goal so that when it takes these calls, it has an objective. And then any special instructions, so any behavior or rules or fallbacks. So for example, it's if unsure, ask the caller to repeat. If the caller wants to speak to someone, transfer them. And you can see here in this one, we have specific instructions. Clarifications, if unclear, repeat and confirm. Error recovery, acknowledge mistake. So if they make a mistake, acknowledge the mistake and ask for clarity. An example is, I apologize for the mix-up. Could you confirm the property name again? Stay on topic, politely redirect off-topic to questions. So sometimes the caller might go off topic, and in this case, we want to bring them back on topic. So in this case, it'll say something around the lines like, let's complete your inquiry first, then I can help you further. Okay, so that is the structure to the prompt, and this is actually the prompt that you can, like, for example, this is a super short prompt. We can literally take this prompt, okay, based on these, and we can use it, and that would be suffice. But of course, you would want to make sure that you have a more detailed prompt like the one you see here. And then here's a ChatGPT prompt that you can also use. So if you are unsure on how to come up with a prompt, you can basically take this exact ChatGPT prompt to come up with a prompt for retail. And you'll essentially just need to go ahead and plug in the stuff in brackets that is highlighted in this beige color, if you will. And then just update the information here: business name, business type, primary objective, tone of voice, special instructions. You copy this, throw it into ChatGPT, and ask it to give you a prompt. You could also ask it to elaborate on anything in particular, like how it should sound, so on and so forth. So that is essentially the prompt. Once you have the prompt, you're going to go ahead and paste that in here, okay? And similar to this multi-agent prompt, you're going to go ahead and paste that in here. Now let's have a look at the knowledge base. And the knowledge base gives your agent the context it needs to sound informed and relevant. This is how the agent understands your business services and FAQs. So ways you can add a knowledge base is you can add a web page. So if we go in here and we show you the knowledge base, you can see in here we have a knowledge base added. I'll actually show you shortly how you can go ahead and add a website. And when you add a website, it's going to connect the sitemap. So the sitemap is like all the pages on a site. So let's say your site has like 200 pages, it'll crawl all of those, and then you'll be able to choose exactly which site page you need. And this is going to crawl and synchronize your website context to train the agent for more accurate info. So you can do that. You can also upload a file, okay, so a Google Doc or any text file. So if we take a look here, this I believe is an actual document, and then if we take a look at this one right here, this I believe is like some sort of PDF, okay? So we'll go ahead and show you how to do that. And then text, you can just manually add the text. All right, so let's go ahead and actually do this. Let's create an agent in real time with you guys, okay? So we're gonna go click on voice agent, and over here you can see we have conversational agents, we have single prompt, we have multi-prompt and custom LLM. So we're going to go with single prompt for the purpose of this video. If you would like me to record a video going over a multi-prompt or a conversational prompt or a custom LLM, please feel free to let me know and we can do that. So over here we have start from blank, notifications, and healthcare. By default it gives you pre-options. If you look, for example, in conversational, it'll already give us some pre-templated options, okay? So in this case, we're actually going to go ahead and create this from scratch, inshallah. So let's click on start from blank and click on create. And it's going to go ahead and create this. And you know what we'll do? We're actually just going to go ahead and copy this prompt that we have here for the purposes of this video. All right, so we'll go back in here and we'll just paste this. Okay, and now we're going to click save. And then a couple things here. Number one is the welcome message. So you can have any of these options. User initiate, so the AI will remain silent until the user speaks. You can have the AI initiate. The AI will begin with a dynamic beginning message. So it'll just make up whatever message it wants. Or you can have the AI begin with a specific defined message. So in our case, when we called, it says, hey, thank you for calling Michelle's Real Estate Group. So here it says, hello, how can I help you? So if we want to make this contextual to the business, we'll add something like this. Hey, this is Michelle's Real Estate Group. My name is Julie. How can I help you? So this is exactly how the call is going to start. It'll start by the voice agent saying this message right here. Okay, so we have this. Let's go back to the knowledge base and add the knowledge base. Okay, so if we click on here, you can see here it says add, and when we click add, you can choose any of the previous knowledge bases that you have uploaded. In this case, we're going to go ahead and click add new knowledge base, and it's going to open up the page for that. And you can see here, this is Michelle. It's a .google file. And we're going to go ahead and click on plus button here. And let's go ahead and have a look at what we have here. So first of all, let's add a name. So let's just call this example video. And then as I mentioned to you guys, you have three options. So you have the web page, you have the uploading of files, and then you have manual text. I actually want to go ahead and upload a URL just to show you what this would look like. So maybe we can go ahead and pull up, let's just look up a real estate company. So real estate company in Dallas, Texas. We're just going to pull up any real estate company and hope that they have at least like 50 pages. So let's see here. Okay, let's do Alley and Associates. So we'll go ahead and copy their URL because we already showed you guys how to go ahead and upload a document. It's pretty simple. You just simply upload it. But I want to show you how we can go ahead and do this. So we'll click add this in here, and then we'll click save. And then you can see here it's going to go ahead and crawl all the sitemaps. So we can see it found 101 pages. Okay, and you can click select all, or you can collect individual pages. Now, I would recommend you have the pages selected that are actually relevant. So for example, if we go ahead and search about, they probably had an about page. Let's see. Maybe team. I'm not sure exactly what their page is titled, but let's see, partners. Let's see here, all communities. So this probably would be like all of their listings put together. Corporate relocation. So this might be good. Roster agents. This might be good because it probably lists all their agents. So for example, let's say this is all we want. Okay, this is all we want to add. You can see here, this is the bio for all of their agents. But let's say this is all we want. We would simply just click save. And you can see here, it went ahead and added the website and then 4 pages. And what's cool is you can click this button here, which will update the content of this page every 24 hours. So if, for example, one of the pages that we selected updates, like for adding stuff to that page, well, it'll be able to update dynamically every 24 hours. So we can click that. And then we're going to go ahead and click save. And now that is our knowledge base. So you can see here it's in progress. And it should take a few minutes and it should be completed. So if we go back now to this right here, we can still see it's still not populated. We're going to go ahead and refresh and see it said that it's finished uploading. So we'll go ahead and refresh this and click on knowledge base again. And now you can see here example video. This is the knowledge base that we just created using this website right here. Okay. Now let's go to the next thing, which is the agent configuration panel. So these are going to be the functions, and the functions enable your agent with real world capabilities like booking calls, transferring to a human, ending calls, and much more. So why are they important? Well, they're important because LLM models, they can't check things like your time or your availability on their own. We need to connect them to the real world to be able to add these things, to be able to check your calendar, check the weather, check whatever it is that you would like it to do. And we are able to do that using function calling. So an example of this is, let's say the user says, can I book the appointment for tomorrow, 3 p.m.? Well, what the voice agent will do is it'll check availability, it'll find the slots on your calendar, and then it'll go ahead and book based on those slots that are open. So we do that. The functions allow us to connect those two things together. That way it can perform that. And the available functions that you have here are as follows. We can see them all here. And we're going to go through each one. So we'll go through each one in a bit more detail. So first of all, you have the end call. This ends the call when the user says goodbye or wants to disconnect. So if we go in here and we click end call, it'll be this right here. And then here you want to give it a description. So we can say if user wants to hang up or says goodbye, please end the call. Okay, so that is what the end call will do. Okay, call transfer. This transfers the call to a human agent when requested or when escalation is needed. So if we go in here and we click call transfer, it's going to tell us, okay, where do we want to transfer the call to? Okay, type of transfer, you have cold transfer, all transfers to this call with next agent without a debrief, or you can have a warm transfer. AI provides a debrief of the agent after transferring the call. So either it gives it context or it doesn't give it context. You could also have the displayed number, so the Retell agent number or the transferee number. And then here you can add custom SIP headers. So nonetheless, that's that function. All right. Then you have the next function, which is checking availability. So this checks your calendar for available times to offer to the caller. So if we click on this, by default, it's connected to Cal API. So it'll basically go in there in real time, check your calendar, and if it finds availability, or it'll tell it certain availabilities. If someone says, I want 3 p.m., it'll check if it's available 3 p.m. It will. If not, it will recommend another time. Then you have booking on the calendar. This instantly books on the calendar for a specific date and time without necessarily checking the actual calendar. And again, this is going to be using Cal. Then we have digital IVR. So this enables the agent to navigate or respond to interactive voice response system using digital tones. And if we take a look at that right here, you can see navigate the human agent of a sales department. So we'll tell it if you are looking to speak to sales, press 1. Then it'll transfer them to sales. Send an SMS. Send an SMS during the call. Can be used for sending links, confirmation, follow-ups, so on and so forth. So if they're on their call and you want to send them, they say they want to book a call, and let's say the only way you book a call is through them filling out a form, or they need a link to a specific property, well, you can send them that text message in real time, and you do that by using this function of sending an SMS. Extract dynamic variables. So this captures specific information from users like their name, phone number, so on and so forth. An example is extract, my name is Ahmed, the variable will be caller name equals Ahmed. Okay, so that is this right here, extract dynamic variables. So you can add the function, well, you have the function name here, and then you have the description, and then you simply just add the variable. And then the last thing here is custom JSON files. So this essentially allows you to create or customize your function. You have all these functions. Well, you can go ahead and create a custom function using JSON file. So in this case, send lead to CRM. That's the function that we want. Well, what we'll do here is we'll simply choose custom function, and then we'll title it, add the JSON file here, which is simply just a piece of code that will be able to execute this exact function that we're looking for. So in this case, we're sending this to a CRM. So this function allows you to literally like do anything you would like. So pretty cool. And you just need to add the piece of code here. So that is the function buttons here. Okay, let's just keep it at end call. We added the knowledge base already. Okay, so I think if you watch this video in its entirety, you'll be able to build this agent with ease. Now let's talk about speed settings breakdown. Okay, so that's going to be the right here. Okay, so we're just going to go over each one so that you understand exactly how it works. I think you should understand how all of this works, even though I mean, honestly, like 50% of it, you don't need to know anything. You don't need to change it, but you should at least know how this works. So the first is going to be background sound. And what this does is it adds ambient background noise like Office Cafe to make the voice sound more realistic. And by default, it's none. So if we click here, you can see coffee shop, convention hall, summer outdoor, mountain outdoor, static noise, call center. So this is depending on your voice agent. You can choose any of these, okay, and it'll add ambient background sound. Then you have the responsiveness. So this controls how quickly the agent responds to the user after they finish. And what you want to do here is that you want to make sure that you don't have it too fast or too slow. You don't want to have it too fast because sometimes some people, they might pause to gather their thoughts, and then the voice agent will answer right away or start talking again right away. And that's not going to provide for a good experience. At the same time, you don't want to have it take too long. Like in the example of Go High Level, the example that I showed you, it just takes too long, like an entire 1 to 2 seconds, which doesn't sound human-like. It's a bit awkward. So the lower it is, the slower the response. The higher it is, the faster the response. So here it's at 1. You can have it in the middle. You can have it at low. So you can really adjust that, okay? So just be mindful of that. And this is why you can test the agent, which is great, because you'll see how fast or how slow the response is. The next thing here is the interruption sensitivity, and this controls how easily the AI can be interrupted by a human. And if you guys recall in the example that I provided you, I don't know if it was maybe because of the mic or what, but I actually interrupted the voice agent and it continued talking. So you can control that by the interruption sensitivity. And the higher it is, the more sensitive to interruption it is. And 0.84 is ideal. So you can see here, this is probably ideal 0.84, but the higher it is, the more sensitive. And I think it should have stopped talking when I was talking to it, but it must have been the mic. Okay, so that is interruption sensitivity. Then you have enabled back channeling. This adds natural listening cues like, yeah, to make the agent feel more engaged and human-like. So if you're talking to someone and they're like nodding their head, they're like, yep, yep. So they're not necessarily interrupting you, but they're responding to your communication. They're telling you yes, right? So you can add these natural listeners cues, what they are called, and that's in here. Okay, you just turn this on, and it'll add that stuff. All right. So then you have, I guess next thing I want to talk about is latency before we go over the other two options here. Let's turn this off first. So before we go over the enable speech normalization and the other functions, we need to go over and understand exactly what is latency. Because you changing these will have an impact on the latency. So latency refers to the time delay between a user's action and the system's response. So the time difference between the user's action and the system's response. In the context of the platform Retell AI, or really any platform for that reason, latency typically measures how long the AI takes to hear the user's voice, process the input, transcription and the reasoning, and then generate a response. So for example, if your latency is 1 second, that means the AI agent takes roughly 1 second to reply after the user finishes speaking. And lower latency means more natural and human-like conversation. High latency is awkward pause or interruptions, which can hurt a user's experience. So the higher your latency is, the longer it will take for the agent to process everything that's going on, right? Process the input, the transcription, and the reasoning. In the first example, I said, hey, can you guys tell me about the two properties that you guys have? Well, if the latency is really high, it takes that agent a lot more time to think about what I just said and reason and give me a response, versus if the latency is low, it's able to process that much faster. So this is just something that you need to keep in mind when we mention latency. And you want to have low latency because, as we said, it is more natural. It is a human-like conversation versus high latency, which takes a long time for it to process everything. All right. Now that we have established that, let's talk about the next two, which is speed normalization. This converts elements like numbers, currency, and dates into natural spoken forms. So for example, if we have $250 here and it's 250.00, like let's just see this. If we have it like this, instead of it saying $250.00, that's not natural. Instead, it should just say $250. So you can enable speech normalization, and what this will do, it'll convert numbers and currency and dates into natural spoken forms. We're not going to say today is July 03/2005. Instead, we'll say July 3rd, 2025, right? So that's essentially what this right here, it makes this speech more normal because it converts these elements in currencies and dates. Now, keep in mind here, if you do change this, it's going to increase the latency. Enable speech normalization, I believe it will increase the latency. So if you look at the latency here on the top, you can see here it's 1045 to 1425, and if we turn it on, yeah, see when we turned it on, it went to 1095 to 1000, yeah, so it goes up a little bit. I mean, it's not much, but you can definitely see it went up by about 75, right? 75. So just that's something to keep in mind, okay? Because it's more information that the AI voice agent is going to need to consider, and you understand exactly what latency is. Then you have reminder message frequency. So this controls how often the AI reminds the user if they don't respond, and you can set time intervals for this reminder. So let's have a look here. Reminder message frequency. So control how often the voice agent will send a reminder. So if someone is, if it's asking a question like, hey, how can I help you today? Well, it's like, do you want it to wait 10 seconds before it has to repeat itself again? Or do you want it to wait a minute? Obviously, lower, right? Less. So 10 seconds, I think, is ideal. Then you have pronunciation, and this lets you guide the AI on how to correctly pronounce specific words, names, or purchases. Let's say you have a specific word or a name that by default the AI voice agent won't be able to pick up. So what you can do is you can use the pronunciation option here, okay? And you can add this, and it'll be able to pronounce the word like how it should be pronounced. Now you're going to need to use an IPA or CMU formatter, and this will give you a specific way to pronounce a word. We're not going to go over that in this video, but to do that you can simply just search IPA formatter or CMU formatter, and what this will do is it'll allow the voice agent to be able to pronounce a specific word. So like, I'll just give you an example. I'm pretty sure it'll be able to pronounce Ahmed correctly, but you know, sometimes some people might pronounce this as Ahmed, which is wrong, right? It's like Ahmed. So if that is the case, what we can do is we can use this IPA or CMU formatter for it to pronounce Ahmed, and then we simply just upload that in here. We already went over the functions, we went knowledge base, you know, everything regarding the speech settings. Now let's go over the transcription settings, okay? So the transcription settings is going to be the next option here. All right, so the first thing is going to be remove noise. So this filters out any background noise. Remove noise plus background speech also removes the voices in the background. So if there are people talking behind you and there's also cars and honking and, you know, dogs and birds, you know, you can remove both of those. And in the first one, you can remove just the background noise, but not necessarily the voices if there are people around you speaking. Then you have transcription mode. If you optimize for speed, it'll have faster speed with decent accuracy. If you optimize for accuracy, it'll be slower but precise transcription. You have vocabulary specialization, so general works across all industries, and then medical prioritize healthcare related terminologies. So if you're in the medical field and you're using certain terms, like there's a lot of terms that none of us know or know how to pronounce, well, you could specialize the vocabulary to be medical so that it will have some context as to exactly what these words are. And if it's general, it works across most industries, which most of you guys would probably be on general. Boosted keywords. These over here, you can add keywords to improve accuracy on brand or niche specific terms. If we look here, boosted keywords. So provide a custom list of keywords and expand our module vocabulary. Maybe you have certain words that the AI voice agent would not use because it wouldn't know it. Well, you can go ahead and add that in here, okay? Then you have call settings. So let's go over the call settings right here. And over here inside the call settings, the first thing you have is the voicemail detection. So you can hang up or leave a message if a voicemail is detected. So if you have someone you call and it goes to a voicemail, you can either hang up or leave a message. That's your option right here. Use keypad input detection. So this enables the AI to respond to keypad inputs. So if you are using something like an IVR option, the IVR function that we have mentioned here, the IVR function that we mentioned here, well, if you're using that, you can have the AI respond to specific inputs. So if it clicks one, you can have it respond to it appropriately. Timeout. So the AI will respond after a set of a time if no input is received. If after, let's say in this example, 2.5 seconds, no response is given, then it will go ahead and respond after those 2.5 seconds. Termination key. This lets the user use a key to end the call. So you can have like 1 or pound to end the call. Digital limit. Response once user enters a specific number. Pretty self-explanatory. I think all these are pretty much self-explanatory. And the call on silence automatically ends the call if there is no interaction for X minutes. So sometimes maybe someone might be trolling you, or you know, someone just calls and just leaves the phone there. Well, instead of you wasting, for example, credits, if there is no silence after, let's say, 3 minutes, then you can simply just have the call end right then and there. Max call duration, so you can set a limit for how long a call can last, because if someone is just sitting there and just going over and over again with the agent, that it's a waste of your time and your money. So, well, not necessarily a waste of your time, but more so a waste of your money. So you can set a duration here for whatever reason. That's just an example. Pause before speaking adds a delay before the AI speaks. So some of the best speakers, they pause and then they talk. They allow themselves to stay in silence. Well, you can go ahead and add a delay before the voice agent starts speaking versus having it speak right away. Ring duration, set how long a phone rings before it goes unanswered. So that's pretty much that. Next, we have the post-call analysis. So if we take a look at the post-call analysis here, what you can do is a few things. So if we click add, you can go ahead and define the information that you need to extract from the voice. For example, it could be a name or intent. So here's an example. Let's say the goal here is to extract whether the caller mentioned the word appointment during the conversation so that you can know if they are interested in booking an appointment, or just how many people are actually inquiring about an appointment. Well, the first thing you're going to do is go to post-call analysis, and then we're going to hit add. And then here you're going to click on add text. So if we click on this, we'll add text. And then you simply just need to go ahead and label it, interested in appointment. The prompt, did the caller mention the prompt? So we can simply just copy this right here for the description, and then for the interested in appointment, just copy that in here as well. All right, and then you click save, and then format example. You can go ahead and tell it how you would like it to be formatted. So what will this do? Well, after every call, Retell will run this post-call check. If appointment is mentioned, it will log it as yes. If not, it will log it as no. This is useful for tagging calls, sorting leads, or triggering automation. So you can imagine like how useful this can be for you if you have certain things that you want to extract. It just gives you really great insights, depending on exactly what it is that you would like for it to track. Now we'll move on to security and fallback settings, and that's going to be this right here, okay? And over here you have the opt-out sensitivity data. This disables storing sensitive users' data. You have opt-out security URLs. This secures links used in call flow and expire after 24 hours. Fallback voice ID sets an alternative voice if the default provider fails. Default dynamic variables provides variables used in variables aren't available. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning of this, 50% of these you probably wouldn't need to change. Then you have webhook settings. So this is agent level webhook URL. Add a URL to receive call event data from Retell, for example, to CRM, Zapier, and for tracking. So you can use webhooks to connect Retell to any platform that you would like for whatever specific reasons. So that is essentially the end of this guide, guys. Okay, we went through the entire thing. We went through all of the different interface here. We went through the prompt. We went through the knowledge base and how to create that, and we actually tested the voice agent. What I will say is, again, this is just a single prompt voice agent. There are other types of agents here. For example, we have here, let's actually just click on create a new one. Let's go back here and let's create a new one and just show you how they differ from one another. This is very basic, and I hope now you can, after this video, go inside of Retell and create an AI voice agent for yourself. Pretty easy. But what I would like to do is show you guys the different options. So first of all, they have a chat option here. So you can actually go ahead and create chat bots, or chat agents rather, in here. This is something new that just came out, I would say probably within the last week. But if we go to voice agents and we go to conversational agents here, these are going to be longer conversations, and they are going to have a specific flow. Then you have multi-prompt. Okay, so what is the difference between the single and the multi-prompt? Well, the single prompt is, as you can see, it has a knowledge base. It has the prompt, and it's telling it, hey, go ahead and answer the phone, sound like this, use this information. That is single prompt. A multi-prompt is going to be something more complex, if you will. So let's say, for example, you are a real estate agent and you have a list of properties, and you're trying to, and you have, let's say this list of properties on Google Sheets, and someone is going to ask you, hey, I'm inquiring about this property. I want to know if it's still available. Well, in order to do that, you're going to need to have another prompt, which is why it's called multi-prompt, which basically says if someone inquires about a specific property, you need to go into this Google Sheet, scan the entire sheet, and then figure out if that property is still there. So that is a multi-prompt where number one, the first prompt is going to be that it's going to greet the user, answer questions, use the knowledge base. But then the second thing is going to be, hey, now I need to make sure that I check that this property is still available, because on the site the property could be sold and they wouldn't know. But with a multi-prompt, you can have it connected to, let's say, a sheet that updates in real time. So that's like an example of a multi-prompt. And if we just go here, let's click on start from blank, and I just want to show you how the interface looks so much different than the single prompt that we just showed you. So if we click here on the edit tree, let's actually go ahead and choose something that's already created, a template that's already created. So we'll do multi-prompt, and actually let's do conversational flow just to show you guys what this looks like. The point of this is just to show you how the interface looks different from the single prompt. So you can see here you have nodes. So similar to DaVinci, let me see if I have my DaVinci opened up. Similar to DaVinci Fusion, if we go here into DaVinci, I can show you inside DaVinci, we have a video here. I'm actually editing this video right now. So inside of DaVinci, you have Fusion. Okay, so Fusion is, you can see here, you can add different nodes. We can add different things in here. So for example, we can add a transfer in here. We could have this do that and connect this to that, and we could do a whole bunch of things. And the same idea applies here. You have different nodes. Okay, so for example, it's going to begin and this is going to happen, and then let's say we want to have a conversation, another conversation here, then we want to send an SMS, and then we want this SMS to do whatever, right? So you have like all these different functions. You can see how this is a little bit different than the single prompt. It's not to be discouraged. It's just different purpose, right? This is why there's agents for different things. This is more so of a conversational flow. If you guys would like me to record a video on this, I'm more than happy to do so, but you can see here the functionalities, the global settings are all the same. The only difference is actually creating the voice agent within itself. So I hope this video has been helpful on how to go ahead and build a AI voice agent inside of Retell. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one.